Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to GnWC Weekly. We are back. It is Cinco de Mayo, which is the 5th of April. No, it is the 5th of May, and it is Thursday after SmackDown. Full disclosure, I have not watched SmackDown, but who am I? I am the Duke, and I'm joined by my good friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're good friends in another castle.
That's a really good video game reference. I like it.
By the way, it's Cinco de Mayo, and I should have had a better reference.
Yeah, you really should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some old Lucha Libre connection or something like that.
I don't know.
But anyway,
like
that's
a 2
Angry
for 1
Larry.
special announcement.
But that's Angry Larry.
Senor Taco 2 for 1 margaritas tonight.
But that's
until
Angry
9 p.m.
Larry. And he's gonna hit us with some really good news and notes, and then we'll get into it.
It's Senor Taco, Patrick Holbrook Road in Holbrook, New York. I got a couple of news and notes. It was basically a week of stuff that didn't happen. And let me kick it off by saying that even though the card was jam-packed at Payback, there were 2 matches that were tentatively scheduled that didn't take place. Becky Lynch versus Emma and Del Rio versus Sheamus. As of that morning, they were going to find a way to insert those matches in. And after Enzo got hurt, there was certainly time to fill. But neither of those matches ever saw the light of day. Also not seeing the light of day, Duke. Rich Brennan and that other guy got fired
Kyle
from
Edwards.
WWE. Yeah, Kyle Edwards, him.
Yep.
And
Not his
Greg
real name,
Hamilton
but-
has been promoted, it seems, to main roster television as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Maria Kanellis in TNA broke her hand somehow. I don't know how.
What?
I tried to find out how, and all I could find is x-rays of her hand.
Weird.
And it doesn't say that she broke it at a house show or anything. I think she broke it non-wrestling related, but I'm still looking around for that. And good news, Duke.
Oh,
Robbie E has re-signed with TNA.
Oh, okay. Wait, what?
Good. Robbie E has re-signed with TNA.
Okay.
And good news, Duke.
What else you got?
Jesse Goddards has re-signed with TNA.
I'm waiting for you to get to the news. That
Good
matters.
news, Duke.
Yeah,
Crazy Steve
Yeah,
has
there
re-signed
it
with
is.
TNA.
that was
What's
the
that?
one. No,
Crazy Steve.
no. Keep going.
And more good news. The American Wolves have re-signed with TNA. You're right. I don't know if that one was true or not, and keeping in theme of the almost was, should have been kind of theme we have going. Do you remember that U.S. title #1 contender battle royal on Raw?
Yes.
Okay. From the graphic they showed 25 minutes before that match, a number of people were on that graphic and not on the match. Heath Slater,
Oh yeah, you're right.
R-Truth, Goldust, maybe Tyler Breeze and Fandango as well. But the big one, the Ryback. Well, Jack Swagger as well. But the Ryback was also on that graphic. Now,
That's messed up.
this is one of the bigger stories of the week and could be something that if we want to get all clickbaity, we can probably blow up to being more than it is or be ahead of schedule for what it might eventually will be. And the Ryback is causing some commotion in the wrestling world, not even the WWE world, the wrestling world. He is not happy with the offer he's getting on the WWE side to renew his contract. So he's basically, I don't know how to say this, acting with a chip on his shoulder, not holding his tongue, just speaking his mind, so to
Yeah.
speak. And not bad-mouthing the WWE, but just openly saying what's on his mind about how the offers are terrible on as far as he's concerned, and how it relates to other people in the business as well. And this is basically the main thing I want to talk about, Duke, and we'll get to the payback stuff I'll segment it to the payback stuff in a little bit. He's basically saying that You want people to take the ball and run, but you're paying them peanuts. And you pay them peanuts when you work them every day and when you have them put other guys over. And then you turn around and you say, well, you're not worth that much money because you're not in a position to draw a house, sell merchandise or whatever. Ryback's argument is you're putting us in this position. You're making us go out there and put people over. And that's not the argument that we have to win because Ryback has a 6-24 or whatever ridiculous number it is record on pay-per-view and is not complaining about that. But he's complaining that you're putting us in this position to put other guys over, to not be a draw. And then when it comes time to renew and work us every day, and when it comes time to renew our contract, you're paying us like guys who are on the bottom of the card. But we work more, we do more, and we're in more trouble with job security because we're not winning, we're not drawing. You're putting us in that position. You can turn right around and say, hey, it's not working. Well, it's not working because you guys are not doing anything with me, basically, is what it is. Other people are starting to come out and say, hey, he's kind of got a point. One of them being Bret Hart. Now, it's not directly related with Ryback saying this. Bret Hart spoke out prior to Payback with basically the same kind of argument, saying you're paying Brock Lesnar and the Triple H's all this money to work a handful of dates. And then all these guys who work day in and day out are doing everything they can, and you're not doing anything with them. It's a long argument in the history of wrestling. I'm assuming if Bret Hart's bringing it up as well. Now, Duke, Monday morning, Ryback met with Vince McMahon to further negotiate with essentially, and these are reports, Vince telling him, if you don't like the offer, why don't you just leave? And Ryback flew home. Ryback was supposed to win that U.S. title match, the Battle Royal, the number one contender Battle Royal. So it's going to become a thing. Cameron also spoke out. Cameron, not seen on TV, Cameron, in favor of Ryback. Val Venus has spoke out saying, hey, Ryback and Cameron are idiots. You know, this is going to be something I think that's going to kind of blow up in a little bit. What do you think about it?
I'm with Val Venus. I never thought I would say that.
now, why? Because I'm never saying.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. But
Yeah.
I will say, on the one hand, yes, there are guys like that, Zack Ryder. There are guys like, yeah, and then he had the big thing at WrestleMania, right? But it was short lived, and there's more attention on him, and so on and so forth. But still, when you're going out there, and I mean, there's even something you can say for how he was booked in that Battle Royal, being the last guy to get eliminated and have a great showing before that, However,
Well, he's the king of the Battle Royal.
Fair enough.
I don't know if that really means anything to anybody, but there was a time a couple years ago where he won like every Battle Royal. Zack Ryder.
Nice.
House shows, main event or whatever it was on then, but he would win
the guy.
Pretty much them all. Yeah, he was the Battle Royal guy.
Nice.
Geyer.
Yeah, he was Geyer in that match. But I will say that there's plenty of room for that argument from people not Ryback and from people not Cameron. When you suck, I just don't understand. Like, when you're an awful person on social media all the time, Ryback, when you're just terrible kind of in any representation of yourself, Cameron, I just don't understand how they, and I'm not trying to, if I was in a room with them, they'd both beat me up. Just saying it. But
can we make that happen?
Yeah, I'm sure you would love that. But anyway, I'm not trying to talk like an internet tough guy. I'm not trying to be that way. I'm just saying, like, they represent themselves very poorly in the public. they're never going to be fully as over, no matter how as over as they possibly could be, no matter how the company books them, because people will see through it based on who they show themselves to be in the public. So to me, those individuals don't have a leg to stand on. I'm with Val Venus in that regard. However, there's plenty to be said. You know, I was I'm not on the Bret Hart train, but he made points even though he contradicted himself.
He made points even though he invalidated his arguments by not remembering people's names.
He invalidates his argument by not remembering people's names. He invalidates his argument by not realizing that, you know, the people he praises in the process of criticizing everyone else are being directed by some of the people he's criticizing. You know, it's just like it's all this. You're not looking at the whole picture. For a guy who's trying to talk like you're talking about the big picture, you're not looking at it, or you're not acknowledging it. So anyway, but all that to say, and all this backpedaling and disclaimering to say, there are points to that. But man, I mean, I just look at the roster right now, and it's just like, who else can say that besides someone like Ryback or Cameron? Especially since WrestleMania. I mean, you've got Tyler Breeze, who we've talked about being buried because of political reasons and stuff like that. You've got Tyler Breeze, who he's in this comedy arc, but I mean, where else does Tyler Breeze really belong as that character right now? When you've got so many super serious storylines going on elsewhere, where does Prince Pretty fit in but a comedy arc, in my opinion? So he's in that, and you've even brought Fandango back into the mix because that's kind of where he's been resigned to. But hey, he's on TV again. So I just don't know where in a roster where you've got in a roster that's so stacked, and yet you've still got the very undercard guys getting some time. I just don't see the argument. Now, I'm not backstage.
Well, the argument's not undercard guys not getting room to do stuff, not doing
money.
Stuff. The argument's
just money.
You're paying them peanuts to do all this stuff, to work every day, to do TV, to do the house shows, and then eventually you're going to turn around and say, "Hey, you guys aren't putting asses in seats, so we're not going to give you any top money." And I guess respect goes along with it, but it's more of overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated, and then insulted when it comes to doing something like, okay, you go out there 250 nights a year and you do a lot more than anyone else, and you're asked to lose a lot. You lose a lot. And then you're going to turn around in something that's predetermined, pre-scripted, and they're going to say, hey, you don't have a good win-loss record. Crowd's not really behind you, so we're not going to give you, top draw money.
But I wonder how much that's like that really happened. I don't know.
But Bret Hart talks about it, and Ryback talks about it, and that's why I'm bringing up now, because it's coming to like light, and Vito, whatever, Big Vito talks about it. But you're going to take it with a grain of salt with everybody. Bret Hart's bitter, the Ryback's stupid, and Vito has a vendetta, but it is worth talking about because it is something that looks like it can blow up.
Yeah, and there's not. Again, it's not saying certain points aren't valid, because you do have the guys who work their butts off and never and maybe are even really good and never really move up. I mean, there's examples of that in WWE right now because they went somewhere else and made a huge name for themselves, and then now they're back. And see, to me,
R-Truth?
Yeah, R-Truth, totally. But no, I mean the Bullet Club and all these other guys and all these TNA guys that are showing up on NXT now. So there's something to be said for, yes, guys get underutilized, but doesn't that isn't there more to that story? These guys didn't get picked up by WWE, or they were underutilized, or they were Festus, or whatever, and then they went somewhere, became mega stars, and now they come back and they're immediately inserted into the
Well,
top
I
of
think
the
that
card.
that's more to his point,
Well,
saying that
but that's
these
what I'm
guys are
saying.
good. Yeah, yeah, these guys are good, but they have to go elsewhere to get over to come back to get more money while you have the talent already, and then you're willing to not pay them and let that be that person. You're going to take a risk on somebody else. There's also something else going on here too with
But
all
that
the
happens in
TNA.
sports, man.
Right.
I
With
mean
all the
that
TNA.
happens in all athletic
That's true.
endeavors.
Well, I mean, nah, because in baseball, you don't have Alex Rodriguez coming in for just August and September and the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Where in
Okay.
this you have
Okay.
Brock Lesnar or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Now, okay. The part timers argument, I've been on board with that for a long time.
yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the day
No.
in, day out guys,
Well,
guys
no,
that
you
leave and
still
come
right,
back.
but you still have Dane.
I'm
I'm
talking.
sorry.
Hang on. I'm talking about like the Bullet Club type guys who who either didn't get picked up by WWE or got dropped or were sorely underutilized, even though they were extremely talented.
Well,
But
it's more veterans.
there's an argument that I would like
But
to talk about
the
some
argument
other
is
time too.
Ryback's been there for years, and now they're going to lowball his offer. Not the Bullet Club or Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens. The argument would also be like if Dolph Ziggler was going to renew his contract and they didn't give him a good offer. You know, it's the guys that have been there doing the work, laying down, doing the job, doing whatever the company needs for them to do, and doing the 280 days on the road a year. And then they have to do the contract, and it's just like, nope, you're
I
not.
I guess my whole point is two things, and I'll be really quick about it. If Ryback wasn't such a dick, I'd be on board with it. If this was someone else and someone that I had not grown to just loathe as a person, then I may be more on board with it. And Cameron is right there in the same boat.
Well,
Now,
Cameron was just like, I agree, not
and
really
she's full of
more of
crap.
anything else.
She's
Now,
completely
did
full
you
of
read what
crap.
Ryback wrote?
Huh?
Did you read what Ryback
I'm going
wrote?
off of what you told me.
Okay.
I just knew that he was.
Read it
Okay.
because it might change your perspective a little bit because I thought it was very well written and
That's
very
fine. That's fine.
Ryback like.
Yeah,
And
which
it
means he
put me
probably
on
didn't
board
write
with
it.
it a little bit.
So anyway,
to
hang on,
segue from
hang on. He's such a dick. The other thing is there's the case of people who said, okay, if you're not going to pay me, I'm going to go somewhere else. So I'm going to make money. And then they come back and then they just get they get pushed to the moon. Again, if it was someone besides Ryback saying it, I would be more inclined to listen to it. I will read it. You can link it to me. I will read it, and maybe next week I'll say something. I'll backpedal a little bit, but
that was
those
good.
are my
I don't
2
think
points.
you'll backpedal. Like I still don't like the guy. Actually, I still don't care for the guy. But to segue from that into Payback, I thought he stole the show at Payback.
I thought
and
it
that's
was
not
well, and that's what I was gonna say. I thought that match was really, really, really good.
he the pre-show stopper from the time he came out mocking CM Punk and getting the crowd just pissed off at him to the time where to just the way he wrestled that match. This is the case where this is a guy who's big and strong and a meathead, and he finally wrestled a match where he looked like a meathead.
Yeah,
and it worked so well.
Yeah,
he threw Kalisto around like a rag doll, press slam off the top rope, while on the top rope, or whatever else.
And
moves
props
he
to
did.
Kalisto for doing his job on the same side of on the opposite side of that stuff too. So
it was one of the best matches of the night, and it's and if it's because he has the chip on his shoulder, man, they could capitalize on that. They can do the secret deal, the secret renew the contract, and then turn right around and say like, well, we're just still going to do the CM Punk, I'm going to walk out with the title bit, but we're really signing this contract. We know this.
Yeah.
But that said, he did go home on Monday Night Raw. And when he was supposed to go over in that battle royal, allegedly, and could just be sitting out his contract. They may not use him until it expires, and he may be done. But we'll see on that. What did you think about the rest of Payback, though?
I thought it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, it
Personally,
was
I
it was
thought it
really
was on.
good.
I thought it was on par. You didn't have the CM Punk factor in Chicago, but I thought it was on par as a show with Payback 2013, which I think is one of the better pay-per-views that has happened
Remind me what that
in this
was.
era. That was Punk versus Jericho. That was Punk being gone for a while and coming back and facing Jericho.
Was that when Jericho was pouring bottles of liquor on
It
him?
was not that one. I think that was
Oh, that was
I
WrestleMania,
think
right?
that was after, yeah, at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
yeah,
Before, maybe.
yeah, before. It's one of those, obviously.
It was before or after. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, that was the one where Punk hit him with 2 GTSs. He GTS'd him, and instead of him falling to the ground, he bounced off the corner and he GTS'd him again to finish.
Oh, okay.
It was really good.
There was a time in wrestling where I had to catch up because I took a little bit of a break.
Well, I watched
think
this
I just
because
sped watched all of them.
Well,
So.
I watched this because someone said something about that particular match, but
Right.
the whole show was really, really good. And there was only a couple of times in it where it was a little bit of a lull. And then that was actually a really cool, the show finished really good. I was watching it and my wife was in the room and I said, and that was, the main event was Cena and Ryback in an ambulance match.
Okay.
And,
those are never good.
huh?
But I said those are never good, but is that the one where he went through the roof?
Thank
of
you.
the ambulance?
Yeah.
okay.
So,
All right.
and that's what I complained to my wife about. I said, you know what I hate about these matches is it's just this slow and plodding match where they eventually get to the stupid ambulance and then they have to force someone in a door and it's just so stupid and unbelievable. I don't understand why they wouldn't just throw someone through the roof. That makes so much more sense. And then Cena gets up on the roof and starts sort of goading Ryback, and I'm like, no way. I really haven't seen this show. Like, I kept having to convince my wife, I really haven't seen this show,
Yeah.
but I think they're going to do exactly what I just said. I said that was the week where I'm like, I'm wrestling clairvoyant, because there were several other things where
That's
it's
right.
just
You
like,
did say that the other week. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. There were just several other things where it's like, there was no reason for me to call that shot. I just kind of randomly did it, or just did it off of like my displeasure with something, and it happened and it was great. So
Now, okay,
yeah.
so
Ryback, that was a good show.
Yeah.
This show was on par or better than it because of, like, you can there's plenty of like, I heard someone talk about upheld the status quo again because no titles changed and so on and so forth. And I've been someone that
They don't have to change.
right. Well, I've been someone that said something similar to that before and got your nose booking and playing it safe and all that.
Yeah, I think I yelled at you about one of those.
What's that?
I think I yelled at you one time when you
Yeah.
nothing changed. I'm like, nothing has to change.
Yeah, you did. And for this one, everything was told so well, even with something majorly, even with a major monkey wrench, they did everything so well. And there's only a few things where you're like, that could have been a little better. That could have been a little better.
So give me
So yeah.
one high, one low. Give me a low, because that's probably easier to think about than a
yeah,
high.
the low was the McMahon thing went a little long. It was a little long and drawn out. I thought it was good, but it was a little long and drawn out. And that was very got your nose, because in the end it was just like, this was a complete waste of time.
your draw out on that, I think, was filling time.
I think it was filling time, and it was
felt like that to
also
me.
I heard someone say, I heard Wade Keller from Pro Wrestling Torch. He was on Stone Cold. They were reviewing it, and they were really high on the show. But he said he could see that being, we need to bring everybody down a little bit so it gives the main event a little bit more flair.
Yeah. That's why your second to last match is always never like co-main event.
Yeah, which is completely relevant. But that would be the only. That's really the only. I mean, obviously Enzo getting injured, that's a low.
What about
that's a
the
freak
Montreal
accident.
screw job reboot?
I didn't mind it. Like, I saw people hating on it, but I'm like,
yeah,
you know what? Yeah, I'm sure you did, but I mean,
It,
there's a couple of things about it, and I get why people are frustrated, upset, think it was a travesty, or all the dramatic things people have said about it. But I didn't hate
uh,
it, and Brett's there. Brett's not going to go out and Brett knew the finish, so he's not
yeah.
going to go out and Brett's Brett, and Brett's going to say that's trash. We're not doing it. At this point in his
Right.
career.
For somebody so bitter, you're not bringing him in to do the screw job, and then like 11th hour telling him about it. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
here's our little guessing game or a little quiz for today. Not a pop quiz, but just a general observation question. Why do you think I dislike the Divas match?
Um, I don't really know.
Because yet again, you had a Divas match on a pay-per-view where you don't let the women's match on the pay-per-view where you're not letting the women just wrestle.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah.
got to be something else. And
Dumb
here's a
drama,
fact. Here's a
dumb
stat
unnecessary drama around it.
89.25% of the women's championship matches in the last year on TV have not been clean or between two people one-on-one.
Is that a legitimate stat or just
That
something
is
made
not
up?
a legitimate stat, but name me the
It's
last
pretty
time
close.
you remember. Because with Charlotte, it's always with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
With Nikki Bella, it was always with Brie. When's the last time you had, and even at WrestleMania, where the finish was clean? Well, Ric Flair was holding Sasha Banks away from breaking up the pin. So really not. So when was the last time you remember a match
Well,
for the women's title?
technically, Natalia Charlotte won at Roadblock.
Ric Flair tripped up, held Natty's leg, I thought.
No, he didn't. Remember, that's the one where Natty got distracted by.
Well,
Natty
that's still
thought,
part of the whole.
well,
When
that's
is it
true.
ever
I
been
mean, he's still
one-on-one?
there. He's still a part of the match,
Yeah.
and it's unnecessary. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I mean, you there might have been a Nikki Bella match where it was one-on-one and
Nikki,
Brie didn't interfere.
Nikki and Charlotte. When Charlotte won, that was a just straight clean match, and they just brawled, and it was a fantastic
Brie didn't
match.
try to interfere at all, and
No.
it backfired or anything. No, okay, all right. So that was probably it. I was going to say that Nikki probably did have a few back then, but since Charlotte's been probably after Charlotte just won the title, maybe between her and Paige was clean as well. But that's just to my point is we have the new title that says women on it. Can we just get women's matches?
Yeah, can we just let them wrestle?
We just
are we going to get that at? Do you think we're getting that at Extreme Rules? With
I think so too. But the way
Band?
I put it was, what's that? Extreme Rules? Yeah, Flair has been banned from ringside. Yeah, yeah, and that's what brought it up. Is whenever I say that the women's division takes 3 steps forward, like 1 step forward here and there. Like we're gonna make the title women. We're gonna bring in real trained women's wrestlers to wrestle, and then all of a sudden you're just yanking them back. All those steps you put them forward by doing the reenactment of the Montreal screw job or the hot shotting of the heel faces to necessitate a legitimate contender and stuff like that.
Instead of building long-term characters.
And it's nothing that doesn't go on the men's side as well, month in, month out. The only problem is the men's side has 5 to 6 spots every pay-per-view. The women's side has 1.
Yep.
Has 1.33 every pay-per-view. And to always have it always be something, then it's like, well, what's the point of the women's division anyway if it's always just going to be marred by outside interference or whatever? It's definitely not revolutionary, but that's my take on it.
Well, let's say something. Consider real quick.
Yeah.
The match that was left off, the women's match that was left off of Payback was really good on Raw.
Oh no! Listen, the women's matches have been pretty much always pretty good lately.
But it wasn't short. That's
no,
not
at all. And tonight they actually went. They did a tag team. I told you this before we went on.
Yeah.
With Becky and Natty versus Charlotte and Emma, and they actually went like introductions, commercial, segment one, commercial, conclusion of the match. So they actually had,
A 3
you know,
segment match.
three, basically with introductions, three segments to themselves on the show. So,
Not bad.
they're getting this, and it's much better than the Divas Revolution where they would have like 29 minutes and it would be like 6-on-6 or whatever, and just everything like jammed down your throat. Like, we have 12 women on the roster. Here they all are.
As JR said at that time, extensions, extensions everywhere.
Extensions everywhere. Yeah. So, all right. What do you make of Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho, with Chris Jericho saying his goodbyes on Twitter Monday morning and then being on Raw anyway?
I don't
Do
know.
you do you care for that trolling? Is that like the negative of social media? Like,
I don't know. I still wonder if it was trolling.
you think it was legit? Because he's scheduled on house shows and everything through SummerSlam. So it was like, unless he was just being like a jerk and was really upset at something and like just said, "All right, I screw this, enough, goodbye." But I don't know him to ever be like that.
Nah, because he's someone that, he'll complain backstage, and he'll
Oh,
try
he through
he'll
the
do
curtain, he'll complain, and then by the time he hits the locker room, he'll just have a seat and he's good.
yeah he'll do what he's happy to do his job, because wrestling is always what he's wanted to do, wrestling and music, and he's doing both. So how can he complain?
Right. But
Um,
do you
but
think
yeah, I
that's
don't
like a
know.
negative of to do stuff like that? Does it really put like a negative spin on when it's actually really done? Like if somebody was to really leave and then be gone for 3 weeks and then make a unannounced appearance?
Well, there were people who said it was sort of a Conor McGregor thing,
Right.
but I don't know. Like, it
I
was sort
I
of a.
didn't even notice. Was it copied word for word, kind
I
of
don't
what
know
Conor
that it
McGregor did?
was. I don't
Okay,
know
because
that
I
it
didn't think it.
was.
I don't know if I would have
Like,
caught the reference if it was, but now that I think about it, I don't know if it really was.
yeah, I don't think it was. That's why. I mean, not that I follow UFC, but I saw. I remember seeing people say a lot of stuff about it at the time a couple of weeks ago, and then people were people on Squared Circle were like, "Oh, this is like the Conor McGregor tweet," and I was just like, "Is it?" And I didn't look it up, but I was just like, I don't remember it. I remember him distinctly using the word retire, and
Yeah, I thought he said retire
that's what
too.
people kept making fun of, was that he said he was retiring, and Jericho didn't say that. So I don't know. Anyway, but I don't know. I mean, for Jericho, he's just, people love him for it. So they love him being a heel, and they love him getting whatever cheap pops he can, it seems, or cheap heat that he can. And he's all about doing it, and doing it just to mess with people. So I don't know. It seems that it comes across the way he wants it to, in that people who are smart about it were like, "Oh, he got us again," and people who are stupid about it were just like, "Well, why did he say he was leaving? Oh man, and why didn't he give these younger guys a shot?" Oh my God, there's so many young
That's why
guys.
you can't read that toxic Reddit. Unless you enjoy that kind of stuff where you like watching people whine and complain about every little thing. I read a little bit
I
of
got to be honest. Most of Squared Circle is pretty positive, and
is it? Okay.
a lot of it is people being extremely logical, which I'm impressed with, because that's
That's
not
weird.
normally what subreddits
That's
are.
not a Reddit thing.
Yeah.
That's not a Reddit thing.
Yeah, but
But I
I'm
was
like
on
extremely impressed with Squared Circle. Shout out to Squared Circle.
/r
Yeah.
or something. But
R Squared Circle. That's how people say it.
okay. I was on WWE.com getting pictures for the crappy thing that I did the other day. And it's worth listening to if you want to hear me at my absolute worst. But it wasn't that bad.
I'm
It
excited
wasn't
to
that bad.
listen to it now.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. No, it was all right. But when I was getting the pictures, on the bottom they have the comments on everything. Every page in the world has comments on the bottom of it now.
Yeah.
So I was on
Discuss.
the very bottom of the page doing something, and I forget what match it was, and maybe I'll figure it out when I start talking about it. But basically, the people were very ignorant of WWE being an entertainment product, let's say. So they were arguing back and forth on how people should have beat people and why they lost and giving them excuses. And then you had the other half coming in saying, "Hey, dude, this guy went over because he was paid to go over." Because that's how they wanted it done. And it
Oh,
was
you're
just
you're
like,
you're talking about like straight marks, like just like legit
I'm talking
marks.
about straight marks and the IWC and my mom makes $57,000 working at home community all coming together at one time in one place. And it was just like I was reading it and I'm just like, this is probably why I hate comments.
That's a microcosm of the YouTube audience for WWE's channel because I read
Yeah.
the comments for entertainment and just as something to get me thinking because about our show because a lot of times I'm like, what are we going to talk about this week? And so that actually that gets my gears turning because half of the time I'm just like, what are you saying? Like, do you think wrestling, do you not know it's a work? Like, do you not get that?
I mean, I understand some people are passionate and there are some ignorant people, and some people may have, unfortunately, some sort of
Yeah,
disability or
yeah.
something, let's say,
There's stuff. Yeah,
yeah, there's stuff going on to where they don't realize it's real or they're just still going to talk like it's real, or some people are just talking as fans. You know, they're
sure.
shooting as fans on a work, or whatever. But yeah, no,
Yeah, it's weird.
it's
It's a weird universe. It's to use that term, but it's a it's surprising sometimes some of the stuff I see on YouTube comments. I'm just like, man, like
no. So
I'll
I
see
I
people
envisioned
who
the Reddit to be more like YouTube.
n-
Or I pictured the Reddit to be more like Call of Duty Reddit, let's say, where like everyone's just yelling at
I
each
mean,
other and then
there's plenty of people who are just like saying dumb stuff, but man, I'll see people who say distasteful things um or just like completely ignorant things and they get downvoted to oblivion. You have to
well,
like
maybe they have good moderators.
you
Maybe
have
it's
to
just say, "Hey, listen, dudes, we're gonna keep this real and
Well, and I
we're
saw
not gonna do
people like did you see what I was putting in our thread? I sent you some
a little
messages. You
bit."
may not have seen
Yeah.
it, but yeah, it's worth a read. Someone's talking about how stacked the roster is and how, you know, the quote unquote best for business on who's going over isn't really that relevant anymore because any one of like the top 12 guys could be the guy. And then they talk about how that relates to Roman and how if you just let him be and they're not harshing on Roman. They're saying if you just let Roman be the guy that he is on social media, kind of a jerk, you know,
Yeah.
just a jock. You know, just let him be himself. He'll get over. Like it's just that you keep trying to make him everything we've said plenty of times, and plenty of people have said. You keep making a guy that looks like a model be an underdog. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
huge guy, good looks, and you're gonna
Good
make
good
him the
energy
biggest.
when he's in a
Yeah.
match, but then you
You're gonna
put
make
him in these dumb situations.
Yeah. You can make him into the biggest Rene Dupree out there when he should be, the guy. But I think they've
Yeah.
been doing a lot better with Reigns. They dropped the whole underdog babyface kind of thing, and they're just kind of rolling with it, and it's really working for me. What do you think about all this stuff they're doing? Like, because on me, it's working for every level. The AJ and the
Oh, I love it.
Gumball
I
versus,
love it.
yeah,
I thought Payback was like I knew people were going to be pissed when he won because I knew he was going to win some way or another. And what was the biggest complaint? Everybody's like, well, Reigns takes all these finishers and then he just pops up and does a spear. That's not what happened. It's not what happened. It's just like, and then AJ can't kick out of a spear. Yeah, because they told the story from the very beginning of the match. Reigns is the powerhouse.
yeah,
AJ is the speed, the finesse, the true wrestler. And when it came down to a pure power move, AJ didn't have an answer for it at the end.
you couldn't con-
It made sense. It all
you
made
couldn't
sense.
couldn't convince me 3 months ago that AJ Styles Roman Reigns could have a good match.
Man, it was good.
It was good. It
It
was pretty
was,
good, and everything they've been doing since the
and even the
whole, like,
shenanigans worked too. I mean,
yeah,
it was all good.
Because you know what? The shenanigans are not one-sided, and that's where it falls apart a lot of the time, especially
Yeah.
when the NWO era, when it was just the NWO doing all the shenanigans. It just was 3.5 years of the NWO coming out on top, and you're just waiting as a fan, waiting. Who's gonna conquer these guys? And you're just like, well, you know what? No one's gonna conquer the guys, so let's just root for them.
All right, so let me put another rub out there for squared circle. So this was something when people were like, "Oh my God, well, how does Reigns get to hit everybody with a chair on Monday night?" But you know, basically it was bad. Basically, if Reigns does it, it's bad. If everybody else does it, it's fine. And it was the whole, well, AJ didn't hit him with a chair. Why is he going to beat up on AJ now? Or why are the Usos going to beat up on AJ now? So on and so forth. And I'm just going to read what this guy wrote. So this is a quote from Squared Circle, R Squared Circle. The guy's name is Lycareth. I'm probably butchering that. Lycareth is his name. And he said, "Do you guys not know what it means to be implicit in wrongdoing by not doing anything at all to prevent wrong? Yeah, Roman beat down AJ, but AJ let his boys beat down Roman after the match. The Usos responded even though they attacked the wrong guy. No one is wrong and everyone is. That's the kind of stuff," he said something else, "that happens in real life." And he's right. It's like that's what happens in real life. If you watch someone stand around while his buddies are beating up a friend of yours, guess what? You're going to get in a shot on whoever you need to make a point and to get your buddy out of harm's way.
Right, and that's why this
That's
is
how
working,
life
because it's
works.
not just Anderson and Gallows beating up Roman Reigns, and then that's it.
It's everybody's in a moral dilemma.
Yeah.
Everyone's in a moral dilemma, and that's great. Like,
But the only one it
that's great.
hurts is it hurts the Usos because they're kind of bringing them down because the crowd's so partial to hating Roman Reigns. I won't say they hate Roman Reigns, but they're so partial to hating him that when the Usos are coming out now,
It's
they're
so
getting booed.
trendy. It's so trendy to
Yeah,
hate him. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So,
I think it'd be great if they came out in all black and like went with like someone said this on the Reddit too, and I'm like, wow, that's such a great idea. They said get rid of all the neon, put them in all black, and give them Umaga face paint instead of the bright colored half
but they
warrior
play
face
harder
paint.
in the paint. So
They play harder in the paint.
yeah,
Exactly.
and then someone has to feel their glow too, since Naomi's hurt.
Stop it.
But
Anyway, but
that's actually true.
yeah, I mean, you
Let me
bring them
read this
out
to
and
you.
you just heal them out visually. So,
Yeah.
they could be the
That'd
exact
be
same
good,
guys, but heal them
like
out
Jim Ross
visually.
is saying, there's no heels, there's no faces anymore. Everyone's becoming this gray area, and that's not a WWE doing wrong thing. It's like an America thing. Like there's just the attention span of America now almost can't handle good guy, bad guy. It's just like whatever it is
Well,
this week is
we're just
whatever it
we're
is.
so cynical. We're
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
mean,
it's a
and
cynical crowd.
we're guilty of it too, but we're just so
I'm
cynical as
guilty
a
of nothing,
culture.
pal. Hey, put that cigarette out. Let me read you this. Ready?
Go.
It's time to play Guess Whose Quote This Is.
Like a
Do you have a jingle for that?
pop quiz.
Okay. Ready? I mostly just dealt with Vince on it. That was Vince's concept, I guess. I thought it was pretty flat, to be honest. I told him that. Initially, the idea was that at the end, it was just going to stand with my hands on my hips or something in the middle of an aisleway and block Ric Flair from leaving the ring. It's kind of obvious who it is now. I remember going, that's pretty lame. I think we can do better than that. This is Bret Hart on the whole Montreal screw job thing for the Charlotte and Natalia match. Bret hated the idea. He said it was boring, it was flat, it didn't make sense. But since he was going with it, and doing nice because, he's doing Natalia. He's always making this about Natalia, doing Natalia a favor.
But he's gonna just complain about it before, after,
right.
during.
So since he's doing Natalia the favor and he's going to be there anyway and just do whatever it calls him to do, he actually just said, "Hey, I'm just not going to sit there with my hands on my hips while this happens. Let me hit Ric Flair. Let me put him in the sharpshooter. Let Natalia put Charlotte in the sharpshooter as well." And that's why they ended the match that way, The original ending was just going to be them bailing after they won
No, that was
on the
dumb. The way it
yeah,
was done was like,
right.
it,
Right.
yes, the
So
screw
it's
job
not like
was
he was
dumb.
okay with it. He still
Right.
hated it,
Fair enough.
but it's, Bret Hart's Bret Hart right at
But
this point right now.
but
It's
yeah, but see, he put out something that said, "This is how we do it better." I don't
yeah,
like it, but this is how we do it better, and that's what you should do. Like
right.
that's what
That's what you should do
you
as a
protect.
veteran.
You
Right.
protect. Well, I mean, that's what everyone should. That's what Ryback should do. You should protect your character, whoever your character is at that point, and that's something that that's one of the things where it was bordering on, are they talking about a work or a shoot, when Austin was complaining about the stuff from WrestleMania. But that was one cool thing that I got from that, was he talked about protecting your character, and that was one of the big things. And I've heard some other people say it, how a lot of guys back in the Attitude Era, the question wasn't, should I do that, shouldn't I do that? It was, does it make sense for my character to do that? And a lot of guys don't necessarily they haven't been brought up to think that way, that their character actually matters, and everything they do matters to their character and needs to be
Right.
consistent with their character. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's, us not being in the business, it's hard for us to say
Sure.
exactly what happens and what people are told to do more of, not do, and totally like never do this again kind of thing. But so it's hard. I mean, we've seen people go into business for themselves, and then we've seen the same people get kicked off of TV for 6 months, so to
Yeah.
speak. We've seen
Yeah.
people go into business for themselves, and we've seen those same people move on to main events and title change, holding the title and stuff like that. So it's really all down to politics and it's stuff like that. And I think that a lot of the people are okay with that. Sort of, a lot of people are okay with just coming in, doing their job, wishing they can do more, but being happy that they're doing the stuff that they want to do. And then, as long as they're just respected and treated and not insulted in any way by lowball offers and stuff like that. But again, it
Yeah.
comes down to, you: are you a dick? Are you not a dick about it?
Yeah.
And are you perceived as being like the next guy? Or are you just like relegated to comedy lower mid card, and nobody's ever going to see you different in the office? I mean, I'm sure all of that goes on. So stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I actually have
Which
one more thing
happens
open.
in everything, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
I mean,
understand. I mean,
if Steve Blackman wasn't blackballed,
there
he'd
you
still
go.
be around, and stuff like that. But
There you go.
by the way, there's a thing on Nikki Storm on WWE.com that we're going to read
Go.
word for word to for about 2 hours. We're going to read it over and over and over again because she is the greatest wrestler in the galaxy.
Galaxy.
I will read this on my own though, and then we'll talk about it.
Sure.
We'll do a 5-hour special about it next week.
I'm
But,
excited.
let me tell you this. This is the last thing I have for before we go, and this is going to be another quiz like situation.
Pop
A
quiz,
guessing
sort
game,
of.
let's say. Nikki Storm.
Oh no.
What will her WWE name be? And this doesn't have an answer right now. She's currently being announced as Nicole Glenross. But
Why would she not keep Nikki Storm?
here's two
Does
reasons
somebody
why
else
she's not keeping.
own it?
3 reasons. 3 reasons why she's not keeping Nikki Storm.
Lance Storm is one of them.
Lance Storm.
Yep.
2, Nikki Bella.
Oh man.
3, there's no Y in Nikki. And WWE need a Y in name to do that. So we have to come up with names for Nikki Storm.
The Y thing. What? I don't even understand.
Well, Rhino had a Y, China had a Y. Anybody who's ever been
Couldn't it be
introduced,
NYKKI? Couldn't they do that?
they could, but have you ever noticed at least recently, any wrestlers with the same names?
No. No, it's definitely a thing. You're right. You're right.
So she's not going to be Nikki, and she's not going to be Storm, and she's not going to be Nicole either, because they kind of call Nikki Bella Nicole on Total Divas, I think. So that's homework, I guess. We got to come up with names for Nikki Storm.
That's
Miss Galaxy.
there you go. Galaxy Girl.
Galaxy Girl is
City
kind
of
of okay.
City of
That's a Y.
Heroes. City of Heroes reference there.
Oh, is it? It
Yeah.
has a Y in it, but I'm not too sure. If it's a reference, I'm not too sure they're gonna go with it because they're gonna want to trademark it on their own. But
City of Heroes doesn't exist anymore. They can't.
that's true. I don't know
Well,
why I was thinking of like a
yeah.
mobile game like Clash of Clans when you said that
No,
in my
no.
head.
City of Heroes
I'm just like,
is shut
yeah.
down.
Well, Pan Am doesn't exist anymore, but I'm sure there's some sort of holding company that holds
That,
the trademark to
that's
names and stuff.
completely possible. You're right.
That is, Pan Am might even hold the
But I
trademark
think
for.
NCSoft, I think they sold the IP, or maybe they just gave one of the spiritual successors, quote unquote, essentially access to all of, like, permission to use all of the game as it was when it closed down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a while
I thought
back,
they held. I
which was
thought they
cool.
held everything hostage.
They
How
did
come that never?
for two
Okay, they did.
years. They did
Okay,
for
all
2
right.
years, and then
Okay.
these guys just kept hitting them up. They're like, we could really make this new game a lot better if we could kind of see how they did stuff. Can you give us it, please? We had this really successful Kickstarter, and not to trash them, but we haven't really seen anything from them yet, which is annoying. And I'm really glad I didn't buy into the Kickstarter now. But
And that was a year ago that I kind of was started talking to you, and
yeah,
I think like one of the first few things that we talked about were like games on the horizon, and like you
they
listed
haven't
all
done
these City of a
anything.
Hero like offshoots.
Yeah,
I think that was them.
Valiant's Online has gone the furthest, but it's like one of those weird things where, hey, we're getting some game in this weekly. That's pretty good.
Question: What
Valiant's
can the
Online.
WWE?
I'm going to put their logo up right here. Here it is. Bam. Valiant's Online. Okay, so Valiant's Online has done some really cool stuff. It's just I haven't gotten on there recently, but the last time I got on there, I kept reading these updates and updates and updates, and I'm just like, well, where are they? They're not. Maybe I'm. It's just not clear to me that this is stuff they're working on that's going in an update that's coming up, because I'm not actually seeing it in front of me when I load up the game. But maybe I just need to reinstall or something, and it's not. Yeah, there was something where they did a new patch a while back, so I need to get caught up on it because I liked where they were going and how quickly they were going there. So
Speaking of getting caught up on stuff, I'm watching Daredevil on Netflix finally.
are you?
Season 2. Yeah. So
You're in season 2?
well, I watched season 1 last year sometime, but I'm doing season 2 now.
What do you think so far?
It's good. It's okay. It's good. It's
Did
okay.
you ever watch Jessica Jones?
I love Jessica Jones.
Okay, it was good.
I thought there were
It
a lot
was
of episodes that
crazy
were just
good.
kind of like Breaking Bad. There were a lot of episodes that were just like too cinematic, artistic, and like nothing going on, but like a lot of crazy like slow
was
shots or whatever.
Filler
Yeah.
stuff.
And I just think that's a whole Vince Gillian kind of thing that I think's like revolutionized TV lately. The short 13 episode seasons and arcs and stuff with a lot of like dramatic build. So like
Yeah.
in Sopranos, like nothing would happen for episodes on end, and then something would happen and be like, well, why won't they do this every? Well, because if we did this every time, it'd be boring.
Right.
And stupid, and like there'd be no thought process in it, but you'd have your Columbus Day episodes and stuff like that. But
Columbus Day.
well, that's the only one I remember is the Columbus Day parade one. I just remember everyone's reaction afterwards, like they were trying to make some sort of Italian political statement, and I don't even remember what it was. So, but I just remember that was like the most not controversial, but like most hated episode.
That's hilarious.
At the time.
Something.
Yeah, I might not
Columbus
even be right.
Day.
Well, it was a Columbus Day parade thing, and I think they fought with somebody. I don't remember, but what I do know is that listen to this, and this is why. This is the last thing I have.
Okay.
This is why Nikki Storm should be everyone's favorite wrestler. WWE.com asks, what can the WWE universe expect from you? Here's her response. They're going to witness something they haven't seen before. They're going to witness the best in the galaxy doing what she does best. They're going to witness why I've wrestled on every single continent, why I've wrestled all over the world, and why NXT chose me to be part of their women's division. Nikki Storm is coming, people. Get the Oreo cookies and box of donuts and everything ringside ready for her when she comes out.
I don't understand the references.
That's
right there at the end. What is that?
Thing. I don't know. People at Shimmer seem to hand her boxes of cookies with like Oreos, like like masking tape over Nabisco. Oh. And then they write Nikki's Oreos or something like that, and they hand them
Oh,
to us.
well, you know that's going to happen with NXT. NXT might get cookies out before WWE gets Bootio's cereal out.
I'm surprised Bootio cereal is not really a thing yet. But not even like
they have to get someone to actually produce it, and that's a big that requires.
I'm sure it is
a massive amount of demand, and that's what Big E said on Twitter. He's just like, we would love to do it, they would love to do it here, but there just has to be like a very significant outcry because of how much is involved with doing it. Because I mean, you have to get the FDA involved and all that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure. But I'm surprised with all the different cereal themed cereal over the years. And by the way, I still can't eat strawberry shortcake cereal after I got sick one time, so I'll never eat strawberry shortcake cereal again, even if I find it on eBay. But like Nintendo cereal, Smurf cereal, like with all the cereals out there, you're surprised Kellogg's or Post or something just doesn't General Mills just doesn't turn right around and say, okay, we'll do it. You know, we have all
especially
these
with all the food sponsors that they have, you'd think someone would be out there and be like, hey, we can hook you up with somebody.
Conagra Foods or something. Like, we have all these formulas for foods, for cereals, and stuff that may not even be on the market or might not be global.
Or it got pulled.
Yeah, so we'll just rip off whatever label we have on it. We'll slap on Bootio's and we'll shape them like O's instead of whatever they're shaped like. And there you go. There's cereal. So
well, it could also be a technological limitation because the New Day wants something that looks like Cheerios but turns your milk brown. They've actually said that. They've actually said that.
It could be Oreos cereal, you know, it's just like that. I think that does the same thing. But if Duke was a cereal, what cereal would he be?
I'm trying to think of something that has a bald mascot.
Wow, that's rough, man. Why would you even go there? Mr. Clean cereal. I'm sure that's gonna.
That's messed up, yo. That's messed up.
You went there. I'm just
what
saying,
is this? 6 cents?
I'm just saying that's not gonna be. Not gonna be.
Who gets the reference?
I don't get the reference at all.
I don't want to talk about it right now.
Was that with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, that you
really?
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
I see dead people.
I'll tell you later. Yes, that.
Oh, okay.
That movie.
So you see dead people and you eat cereal, dude? That's messed up.
That's not it.
This is the point where you cut me off at any time and end the show.
Okay. Well, with that, I guess we're.
I might be Rocky Road cereal because I kind of missed that Rocky cereal. Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't ask you. I should have returned the favor. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I understand how it works. But go ahead.
But with that, we are going
the show,
to.
See if I care.
We're gonna move on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, and he is still talking. What is he saying now?
Get off my computer. Yeah.